Hey everybody. People always ask me, Manny, what tools should I be using for my Amazon business? Well, this episode is brought to you by Helium10.com. These are the same tools I use to generate 6 figures per month with Amazon FBA. I get keyword research, product tracking, listing optimization, search term tracking, account monitoring, and a lot of other brand new money pulling tools that are going to be released to Helium 10 members on a regular basis. If you're going to grab any tools, check these out. Seriously, get a massive advantage with the tools that top sellers are using right now. Okay, and they're all in one place. Some tools and services will have a user cap, so get in there as quickly as you can. That's Helium10.com, Helium10.com.
Warning, the following podcast has been classified as insanely lucrative. Listener discretion is advised.
There's kind of like this underground of Amazon. Typically, it's the black hat stuff that nobody wants to talk about and a lot of the big sellers are involved in.
Your attention, please. Listening to the AM/PM podcast may cause recurring revenue streams and unfair advantages over your competitors. Other side effects may include fatter wallets, fired bosses, and longer vacations. Listen at your own risk. Here's your host, 7-figure entrepreneur and online marketing madman, Manny Coates. Manny Coates.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AM/PM podcast. My name is Manny Coates, and I will be your host, and this is the show where we discuss all things Amazon private label and how to generate recurring revenue streams 24 hours per day during the AM and the PM, hence the name of the show, AM/PM podcast. As a matter of fact, I just finished watching the finals for the DRL. That's the Drone Racing League. I know, I'm super nerding out here. And while I was watching people fly these drones at insane speeds, I was making money. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. So a lot of stuff has been happening on Amazon. We're coming to the end of the year. In fact, this podcast should be posted just prior to New Year's, depending on when you're listening to this. It should be somewhere around that time. But yeah, we've seen competitors come out of nowhere and start ranking. We've seen all kinds of fishy things happening, right? So I wanted to talk to some experts about how companies and sellers might be manipulating things and what they're seeing. And one of the guys that really has his thumb on the pulse of things, that he deals with so many sellers and sees so much data that he can identify trends and things that are happening, is my good buddy Casey Gauss. So we decided to get on a call and we started talking and we're like, you know what, let's start recording this because it's interesting stuff. And it's kind of a delicate balance, right? Because there's certain things we want to talk about that the majority of people just don't know about. And the problem with that is a lot of it is black hat, okay? So the stuff is happening, right? People are doing it. But by talking about it, sometimes you're gonna give people ideas about this kind of stuff, things they never would have thought about, right? So we have to be careful about what we say because we don't want people to start going out and doing this and then just ruining it for everybody, right? You don't want people to start doing things that's gonna give them a competitive advantage. So even though we know about this stuff and we know companies that are doing it and we wish we could get some of these companies to stop doing it, it's out there. So we're going to talk about this in this episode. It's not something that I've done before. I try to steer away from this kind of a topic. I think that the majority of sellers out there can make fantastic livings and generate humongous businesses without having to resort to that. And I think it's just risky and pretty terrible for the whole industry. So, but without further ado, let's jump into a conversation that Casey and myself just recently had, and hopefully you'll gain some value out of it. Hello, everybody. I am here with Casey Gauss. He is the CEO of Viral Launch, and this is his second time to the podcast. Casey, how you doing, bud?
Doing great, Manny. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome to the show. So we're going to be just talking about general stuff. I know that you have some really interesting data to talk about. We haven't actually rehearsed this, talked about it, so it's all going to be new to me. So I'm going to ask questions just like if we were having a regular conversation. So yeah, take it away.
So there's always so much going on within Amazon, some that people are more familiar with than others. And there's kind of like this underground of Amazon. Typically, it's the black hat stuff that nobody wants to talk about and a lot of the big sellers are involved in. And so kind of this one particular thing has kind of come to light, or people are seeing the effects of it. They're not exactly understanding what's going on. So I kind of just wanted to bring it to light for some people. I think it's important for everybody to know what's going on in the space because it's just going to help you to make better decisions, smarter decisions for your business. And so, I kind of wanted to talk about it. So basically, like I thought I had an amazing understanding of keyword ranking within Amazon, doing 13,000 product launches. We have an insane amount of data. We have it pretty drilled down. And then just over the last few months, some of my friends have kind of been bringing some new concepts to me. So a lot of people are getting emails from, and Manny, I think that you said that you've gotten these emails like through seller support. You're getting emails from people overseas saying, hey, I can get you ranking page 1 for these keywords. You just pay me, $100 per keyword afterwards. I think you've gotten some emails, right?
Right. Usually they'll say you don't have to pay me anything up front. So they reduce that or remove the entire risk. Like pay me after I get your product on page 1 for this keyword.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's completely TOS. It's totally cool with the TOS. And so they're not lying about their ability to get you ranking. What they are lying about is the fact that it complies with TOS. So really what's happening here is we always thought that keyword ranking was driven largely by sales history. So sales history is king, right? But what we're seeing is people are able to get this keyword ranking with no sales at all. So in the way that they're doing this is they're sending all of these proxies or these bots into your listing, interacting with your listing, pushing add to cart, and then they drop off. And just by doing that, tens of thousands of times in a day, after 24, 48 hours, you're able to get rankings. So in I know a lot of people are not understanding exactly what's going on. Like you search, vitamin C serum, or a good one is search iPhone 7 case or iPhone 7 Plus case. And you'll see a ton of people ranking with like very poor BSR and 0 to 20 reviews. At the time of recording this, I think there's like 6 or 7 listings ranking for iPhone 7 Plus case that have 0 reviews. And they didn't get there through sales. I mean, if they had natural sales, by now they'd have a good number of reviews. But by pushing them up with these bots, absolutely no sales, you're able to achieve any kind of keyword ranking at really no expense other than pushing these bots through.
Yeah. Is that through just add to carts and then abandoning the cart, or through wish lists? Because I've heard a lot of the guys talking about wish lists as well, doing other things like that, or a combination.
Yeah. So really what it comes down to is interaction on the listing. And so I think that people that were doing these wish list things, which, and again, I don't advise any of this, by the way. It's definitely not within Amazon's terms of service, but I do just really want people to understand what's going on like in their market and why people are getting keyword ranking with poor BSR. And I don't want that to, I don't want people to misinterpret what's going on and how to run their business. So anyways, with the wish list, people had kind of they thought that it was the fact that something was being added to the wish list that was driving the keyword ranking. And really, it's just the interaction on the listing that is what's doing it. So whether you're adding to cart or adding to wish list or scrolling down and clicking into reviews, you're still interacting with the listing. And Amazon is interpreting that as relevance to whatever keyword drove, the click onto the listing. And that's how people are able to get the keyword ranking. So basically and I can give a little bit of a rundown of what these bots are doing is essentially spin up a new window in Chrome or whatever with a new IP address. They go to Amazon, they search, iPhone 7 case, they click on the listing that they're looking to improve the ranking on, and then they interact. They'll add to cart, they'll add to wish list, they'll look at the reviews. Anyway, so any of these interactions will help to improve your keyword ranking, and they'll just do this thousands and thousands of times. It's very obvious. I mean, if you have 5,000 add to carts overnight and no sales from those add to carts, you would think that Amazon, would do something about that. Or
yeah, right. But they don't.
Yeah, and
not always. Some people have been hit, I've heard, but typically they don't.
Yeah, well, and you see this everywhere. Just about every major search term, you'll see a ton of people ranking very well with very poor BSR, and largely they have poor reviews. And it's not because sales are down for these keywords. I know we had a friend ranking iPhone 7 Plus case. He was ranking number 1. He's selling 1,000 units a day, right? And the guy second to him has a BSR of 100,000 and 0 reviews. So it's not like sales just aren't being driven through that keyword. It's just that people are using these tactics to get ranking.
Wow. So that's great. So the BSR has nothing to do with it at this point. Zero. Okay. Interesting. So what's your advice then when someone gets contacted by these companies? Because I've been contacted by both companies here in the US, legitimate looking websites, much higher pricing, and then a lot of companies that are overseas, typically in India, countries similar to that where they're, you pay them after they're done and it's very cheap. It's like, oh, it's only $150, $200.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sucks, right? Because these guys are getting away with it. It's working really well. It's the holidays. I completely understand. But I'm just not exactly sure what the repercussions will be once Amazon starts to kind of lay down the law. So there's a couple of things here. One, I had a friend at Amazon just recently, and he said that they're really working on kind of nailing this down because it's become a pretty obvious problem for everybody involved here. And the problem is if Amazon started, suspending people that are doing this or kind of hurting those listings, the problem is you could be doing that to all of your competitors. It opens the door for negative SEO. And so my assumption is that what's going to happen is Amazon is going to start putting in some filters that are looking at like these add to carts, for example, and they're saying, if X percentage of add to carts are resulting in a drop off, you're not going to get keyword ranking for those, and or you may get negative keyword ranking for those. Ideally, there's just no keyword movement at all. And I don't know how the algorithm works. So I don't know exactly if it would be a retroactive thing. So I don't know if it's calculating history all at the same time or like all right away. So basically sorry, the explanation is hard. So anyways, basically I don't know if they made this switch, if it would impact people that have been doing this or if it would only impact people moving forward. I'm hoping the former, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Okay. Yeah, that is very interesting. So you're right, though. This was an issue that Google had many years ago where there were certain things that were very clear that sites were doing to gain ranking and SEO. And then people were like, well, if these websites are driving thousands of links to using this method, you could just kill that site, right? Just de-index them. But the problem, once people figured that out, you could go and you can sabotage your competitors by just hiring a company to do it to their website. So you're right. You can kill someone by doing that. It'd be pretty terrible. And I imagine Amazon knows this. So you feel like they're going to probably just devalue all of those factors completely?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to devalue interaction on the listing or if they're just going to devalue interaction to that degree.
So the majority of it right now is add to carts. I mean, is that accurate? And then you would say it's the wish list?
I would say that it's kind of a combination of interacting with the reviews and add to carts. And then, I would say wish list is second on there.
Wow. Okay. So if clients come to you and say, hey, should I use these guys? What do you tell them?
Yeah, we say no.
But can I get in trouble? I don't know. Well, yeah. Well, let me ask you this. That guy that's selling the iPhone cases that's in the number 2 spot, do you think he's driving a lot of sales?
Well, I mean, you can see from the BSR that the answer is no, but I mean, the problem is he is driving some sales, right? So he's obviously making money off that, $150 or whatever he spent to get ranking for that keyword, but he's not driving very many sales. And I think that to an interesting point, I think this shows us two things. One, it shows that if you don't have a good number of reviews or a competitive number of reviews, you really don't convert well for organic sales because this guy's ranking number 2 for a keyword that's driving thousands and thousands of sales per day. And he's seeing, 200 sales a month. So not even 10 sales a day. And it's largely because he doesn't have these reviews. The other thing that I think it shows is when we do promotions, when we do giveaways, or when sales are driven, when actual sales are driven versus the bots, keyword attribution is being distributed across keywords in your title. And so these guys are ranking, they're a one-man show. They're ranking only for that iPhone 7 case or iPhone 7 Plus case keyword. They're not ranking for the hundreds of other long-tail keywords that would be associated with their title had they been driving sales. So I think that this kind of shows that long-tail keywords are a lot more important than people think.
That's interesting. So it goes to show then, because you and I have talked about this in the past then, when somebody, and I think you guys, your company was the one that actually posted a really good article, one of the first articles that I saw in regards to keywords in your title actually moving up in rank no matter what sale you get, regardless of whether the keyword that generated that sale is in your title or not. So if these guys are actually focused on a specific keyword phrase, I had imagined, unless the seller is completely goofy, that that particular phrase is going to be, somehow it can be made up with keywords from the title though, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it's just going to be that one very specific phrase and only that phrase that goes up, because since there are no sales, all the title keywords aren't moving up in rank. And then that's what you're saying Amazon can probably see very, very easily that there's some kind of manipulation going on. Is that right?
Yep. And a lot of these bots are like so dumb that the like the session time is the exact same. The interaction is the exact same. And it'll be, thousands. I know someone that was doing over 100,000 of these sessions per day. So it's very obvious.
Yeah. Since you have so many clients and so many people that have used your service, have you seen somebody that does have, the reviews, that does have good listing, quality images, everything looks good, and they're nowhere to be found with specific keywords, and then they use a service like this, and then boom, they're on page one, and they can actually see a massive difference? Does it work for those people that do it correctly? I'm not saying, it's the right way of doing it, but does it work for them?
Yeah. But my knowledge is limited there. And for those people that I know, they're pushing for more than just that one keyword. So I don't know anybody that's done just that one keyword and has a good number of reviews. But for those people that I do know that have done it, I mean, yeah, it's been very profitable.
Yeah. Cheat the system. It's short-term gains potentially though. That's the problem.
Yep, exactly.
I'd hate to get an account, closed on you. So interesting. What else, man? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, same old. We kind of were looking at a particular keyword. I think you wanted to talk about this, and we think that we might be seeing. So I know you've talked about it a ton of times, and we're seeing a lot of brand gating going on. And I think that we may have found our first keyword that is keyword gated.
Yeah, exactly. Just so you guys are up to speed on this, Casey and I have been talking now for, I don't know, about a week or so on this?
Yep. Yeah.
And it came to him and I said, hey, check this out. Actually, he came to me with something, and then I came back to him saying, I can't get this particular keyword to rank anywhere. And he's like, yeah, it's not indexed. It's not this. I ran it on 5K Checker. It wasn't being indexed. Did it manually, not being indexed. We couldn't figure it out. And we spent a few hours one night just kind of going through stuff. And we're like, well, I wonder if Amazon is actually rolling out keyword gating now. Like, people had hinted at potentially this could be something that they do, but I don't know. It's a little bit, like you said, it's early to say, but it looks like that's happening with one specific keyword that you and I were talking about, something that we're trying to get ranked.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see how it plays out and to see how they kind of try to spread it around the different brand names, and then to see if they work it into private label products.
Yeah. So the one thing that we're noticing, just to clear it up, guys, this is for a brand name. So let's just say that you've got a product, for example, the iPhone, or you're selling something for Disney or whatever it might be. It's a powerful brand. And so they're essentially making it so that you can't index if someone types in that particular keyword, no matter whether you have it in your title, your bullet points, your backend, doesn't work. But we are seeing that it still indexes long tail stuff. So if you've got two words, for example, the brand name plus another keyword, it's still to some extent indexing, not as well as some of the other stuff I've seen, but it's not blocked that way. It seems like it's only on that individual keyword. Yeah.
Something else that I've been seeing a little bit in the Facebook groups, and I guess this would be the things not to do episode or something, right? But
yeah.
And maybe we don't even want to talk about it because we definitely don't want to give people ideas, but I do like, there's so much misinformation, right? So I do like definitely telling people, hey, this is definitely not okay. But anyways, I'm seeing more and more people are so hungry for reviews, right? And so more and more people are kind of going to these, it's the dark alley of Amazon, to these Facebook groups and paying for reviews or providing gift cards after reviews are completed. And it's just not okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's an invitation to get shut down immediately. If they find out, and maybe you might be thinking, oh man, the chances of it happening are super rare. But I mean, you and I were just talking about how, people that do massive amounts of sales, and one little stupid mistake, boom.
Yeah.
Your account just gets shut down.
Yeah. I mean, so this guy's doing 300K a week right now during the holidays, and literally, out of nowhere, no warning or anything, he gets shut down for review manipulation. And I mean, that's $300,000 he's missing out every day.
Yeah, you said per week, but it's actually $300,000 per day, right?
Oh yeah. Sorry, $300,000 per day.
That's crazy. And it's just shut down because of some goofy thing.
Yep. Yeah. It's like someone in their customer service department accidentally said something that they shouldn't have. It was just a dumb mistake, but it just goes to show that you're never too big to be, shut down by Amazon.
Yeah. So many people say, well, what if we did this? And what if we did that? And it's like, man, it is against terms of service. There's risk with everything. I'll admit, I'm the first to admit that almost everything you do can be interpreted as against terms of service to some extent, almost everything. If you do the wrong thing with your image, it's like, well, it's against terms of service. But you're talking about a slap on the wrist if you, for example, if your image isn't filling out the white background enough. Okay, that's nothing. They're going to be like, oh, whatever. Or if you're not using a white background. I've had that happen to me where they're just, for whatever reason, this product, it was a white product, so I didn't want to put it on a white background. And, it's been running. It's against terms of service, technically. But, worst case, I don't think they're going to suspend my account for an image. So I guess there's different levels of risk.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. And they write their terms of service so well that literally, anything can just about be interpreted as such. And the unfortunate thing is like recently I've been seeing more and more people get suspended or in trouble for these kinds of things, such as like, having holiday sale in your title. I know this guy, he's doing 150K a day. And his entire account gets suspended because one SKU had holiday sale in the title. So it's never worth it.
Jeez. Yeah, that's crazy. What about holiday sale and the bullet?
So, he had it in the title, but I personally would not test it.
No? Actually, I'm not even sure. Terms of service, do they allow you to not put it anywhere if you're having a sale like that? I know the title's definitely off. Can you not put it in a bullet point if you're having a holiday sale?
Yeah, I believe the answer is no. I think it stems around having like temporary language in the listing. So, and
other sellers. I always wondered if you're the only seller, if you're brand gated and nobody else could do it, whether they would be super picky about it. But yeah, you're right. If you're putting that and somebody else has a different, they're also selling and they're not having that particular sale, the language doesn't match.
Yeah. And so like sellers are just like, oh, Amazon's shooting themselves in the foot when they suspend me, blah, blah, blah. But if you really want to look at the facts, they're not. So the thing is like let's take a vitamin C serum, for example. So if your vitamin C serum gets suspended or your account gets suspended, a customer that's going to buy vitamin C serum, well, they're just going to buy somebody else's. There's thousands of people that want to take your place for that particular product. And so Amazon, doesn't really care that much who is selling. They just want to make sure that, there's good people selling. And for every listing, we all know there's hundreds of competitors there trying to take those page one spots. So yeah, it's just don't test them.
Cool. So this is good information then. So yeah, bots, stay away from those guys that are contacting you. You're risking your account if you use them. Might be short-term gain at best. So any final words, Casey?
No, sir.
Yeah, this is good stuff. So you know what? I'm always nervous about posting these kinds of podcasts. In fact, we almost never do these where we start mentioning the dark side, as you called it, right? Because although you're warning people, which I think is important, you're also giving people a lot of ideas. And now they go and seek these guys and, well, I won't get caught. And then it becomes a mess. So, yeah. But it's good. It's good to have. So, well, anyways, hey, man, I appreciate you coming back on the show. And I want you to come on a regular basis. You and I communicate all the time, so I'm sure I'll have you on many more times. If you enjoyed this episode, check out episode 93. It's part of our FAQ series, and it's where Guillermo and myself go in and tackle one question. And the topic for that episode was generating reviews under Amazon's new terms of service and the email follow-up sequences that I actually use for my products. How many emails I send out, the order that I send them out in, what I'm talking about, the spacing between the emails, and so forth. So if you'd like to learn about that, find out more, check out episode 93. Hey guys, Manny Coates here. If you've been following my podcast, you know I'm a huge fan of the Helium 10 tools for Amazon sellers. I only use the best tools out there, and the Helium 10 suite of tools are, in my opinion, best in class. Now, just because I'm the founder of Helium 10 doesn't mean that's all I use, right? I go where the money's at, and if there's a tool on the market that I haven't made and that tool helps me make money, I'll use it, and I'll talk about it here on the podcast, and I'll even link to it in our tools section at the ampmpodcast.com website. But I can honestly say that there's no place that I know of where you can get all the important tools that an FBA seller would need in one place, where the tools work with one another to help you save time and make you a lot of money. Now, the Helium 10 tools have had a huge hand in helping me go from zero to over $1 million in Amazon sales in just 10 months. Okay, keyword research, listing optimization, and a super tool called 5K Checker that makes sure that the words in my listings, okay, the front end and the back end, are actually indexed by Amazon. And guys, if you're not checking this, you're leaving money on the table for sure, because Amazon is always tweaking their search engine. Okay, so I always use 5K Checker every single month on every single one of my listings to ensure that my listings are still indexed for my keywords and that I'm still pulling in customers like crazy. If you're a longtime listener, you know I'll never use a tool unless it can save me a lot of time or it's gonna make me a lot of money. So I'm confident Helium 10 will do this for you guys, all right? There's a money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Check it out. Head over to helium10.com. Helium10.com. That's HELIUM10.com.
You've been listening to the AM/PM podcast hosted by Manny Coates. For more information, insider tools, and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit ampmpodcast.com.